Welcome. My name is Holly Case-Wyatt and I am the Library and Knowledge Services Development Lead in London, Kent, Surrey and Sussex. This is an introduction to Outcome 4 of the Quality Improvement Outcome Framework. It is one of a series of support webinars for NHS Library and Knowledge Specialists. Another webinar is available providing a general introduction to the Outcomes Framework, and we recommend that you watch this introduction before viewing these more focused guides. The main objective of the webinar today is to discuss the purpose of Outcome 4 and to develop an understanding of the levels. We will look at the outcome in more detail and why it is important, how it can be used to support service improvement, how the different levels apply in this outcome, some useful questions to ask yourself while working through this outcome, and some examples of good practice from the 2018 pilot. In this outcome, you will be asked to show how your staffing numbers are appropriate for the needs of your organisation and that your staff are qualified where necessary, have the right skills mix to meet the needs of your service, and have access to CPD opportunities. This outcome provides an opportunity to show the organisation how qualified library knowledge service specialists are essential to the needs of the business and that we take our professional development seriously to ensure the continual provision of high quality services. Outcome 4 links with Outcome 2. So what does Outcome 4 say? All NHS organisations receive library and knowledge services provided by teams with the right skill mix to deliver on organisational and knowledge for healthcare priorities. We understand that the need for professional LKS staff are essential in the delivery of high-quality LKS services. Outcome 4 highlights how library knowledge staff are specialists in the provision of knowledge and information with specific development needs. It also provides an opportunity to showcase how inappropriate staffing levels and skill mix can be detrimental in the delivery and ultimately impact on the organisation as a whole. How will Outcome 4 help you in your decision making and service improvement? Ultimately, Outcome 4 is for you to ensure that your team possess the appropriate numbers and skills to serve the needs of the organisation and the priorities set out in Knowledge for Healthcare. It can also support you in making a case to build your team and or their skills and for embedded librarians in your service. It shows a commitment to the professional development of staff at all levels and the importance of a highly skilled workforce. As you progress through the levels for Outcome 4, you'll notice that they describe an increasingly mature model of service delivery. Services that are given a level 0 for Outcome 4 will be those who are either organisations who have no formal access to library knowledge specialists and services, or those who are unable to evidence requirements for level 1. Level 1 focuses on a baseline expectation of LKS staffing. To achieve a Level 1, library and knowledge services will be led and actively managed by a qualified library and knowledge service manager. What do we mean when we say a qualified library and knowledge service manager? Either a library, information and or knowledge professional in possession of an appropriate professional undergraduate or postgraduate qualification approved by CILIP, or an experienced library, information and or knowledge professional possessing CILIP professional registration at chartered or fellowship level. You will also be able to show that the capacity and skills of the staff are actively considered while service planning, and that all staff at all levels are undertaking some form of continual professional development to achieve Level 1. In Level 2, you will show that you have identified the strengths and weaknesses in the skills and capacity within your team, that you have taken some steps to respond to the identified issues, even if those are temporary and can be resolved in the short term. In this level, as well as undertaking continual professional development, team members will reflect upon what they've undertaken. In Level 3, you will be able to demonstrate that the capacity and skills of the team are reviewed regularly against your implementation plan, as well as national and organisational priorities. That any improvement to skills and changes to staffing capacity have been planned with an implementation date and rationale, or that technologies and partnerships are explored to meet the needs of the service. In this level, you will show that learning from CPD informs the development and improvement of the service. For Level 4, you will be able to show that your library and knowledge specialists at all levels have the capacity and the right skills to deliver and develop the required services, and that library and knowledge services are redesigned according to the service's needs. Here are some questions that you may want to consider when thinking through Outcome 4. As well as thinking about your team and the service they currently deliver, you should think about what your team would look like for the optimum delivery of services to meet your organization's needs. Consider what professional development needs your team may have and how these can be met to support the development of your service for your users. In the 2018 Quality Improvement Standards pilot, there were a number of examples of good practice. Although it is important to note that the wording of the related outcome was slightly different and there were 5 achievable levels rather than 4. However, most services scored between a 2 and a 4. The evidence and narrative provided showed that the service was led by a professionally qualified librarian, evidence of staffing and skills mix consideration in service development, ongoing monitoring and reviewing to ensure that levels remain correct, that they had a range of CPD opportunities available to staff, which was then reflected upon and, where appropriate, used for service improvement. Here are some suggested resources that might be helpful for plan improvements and can be found on the Knowledge for Healthcare blog. They include the Professional Knowledge and Skills Base, the Talent Management Toolkit, Resources for Role Redesign, and the Learning Zone. This concludes this presentation on Outcome 4. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please do get in touch with your regional contact, whose details can be found on this slide.